Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're doing something I find, well, incredibly exciting. We're peeling back the layers of a book that has genuinely altered the financial landscape for millions. Robert T. Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And look, this isn't just a summary. Our mission for this deep dive, it's really to extract those potent nuggets of knowledge, the key mindset shifts this book aims to inspire in you and deliver a shortcut to understanding its influential power. We've got a comprehensive review that not only unpacks its core philosophy, but also, critically examines its strengths and where it might fall short.
Yeah, what's truly fascinating is how Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it was published way back in 1997, but it continues to be this go-to resource, a foundational text for so many people starting their financial journey. It's not really meant to be a technical investment manual, is it? Instead, it's this compelling narrative built around a powerful contrast of mindsets, really designed to challenge the very conventional beliefs we hold about money and success. Its staying power is quite something.
And it achieves that challenge through such a brilliant narrative device, doesn't it? The book essentially frames its financial lessons through the contrasting mindsets of two very different father figures in Robert Kiyosaki's life. It's accessible and deeply personal, a way to introduce what can often feel like, complex financial stuff.
Precisely. So on one side, you have what Kiyosaki calls Poor Dad. This is his biological father. The review describes him as highly educated, exceptionally hardworking, professionally successful within the traditional system, Yet financially, he remained, conservative, maybe even struggled sometimes. His belief system, and this mirrors what a lot of us grew up hearing, revolved around formal education, getting a stable, high-paying job, and just diligently working for that paycheck. He really embodies that traditional path where job security and a steady salary are the absolute goals.
It's a worldview that feels almost like the complete opposite of the other figure. Then in stark contrast, we get introduced to Rich Dad, his best friend's father, a figure who didn't necessarily have all that formal education, but was a hugely successful entrepreneur and investor. And the book really highlights his emphasis on what he calls financial literacy, understanding how money actually works, the power of entrepreneurship, and this kind of radical idea of making money work for you instead of you always working for money. It really flips the script, doesn't it? It feels almost subversive for some people.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you see how these two figures represent fundamentally different philosophies, almost opposing ideologies, actually, about wealth creation. Poor Dad represents that path of security through employment, through diligent saving, trading time for money, essentially. Rich Dad, though, he champions security through financial know-how, through calculated risk-taking and active asset building. The whole book builds on this central tension, showing how these diverging outlooks lead to vastly different financial outcomes, and crucially, different degrees of financial freedom. It forces you to ask, which path am I actually on, maybe without even realizing it.
Okay, so with these two compelling figures, Kiyosaki really sets the stage. But how does this translate into concrete insights? Or, maybe more importantly, a new way of thinking for us? The book distills some fundamental lessons, and maybe the most crucial one challenges how we even define what we own, that critical distinction between assets and liabilities.
Oh, this is undoubtedly one of the most impactful lessons, and often misunderstood, I think.
Yeah.
Kiyosaki's definition is refreshingly simple, really. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket, while a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. The rich, he argues, consistently acquire assets. Think about it. A rental property generating monthly income, right? A business producing profits, dividend-paying stocks. These are like financial engines.
But I can just hear listeners pushing back now, saying, hang on, my house is my biggest asset. Everyone says so. How does Kiyosaki handle that common idea? What's his core argument there?
Yeah, that's where the mental shift really comes in. And it's a point of, frequent debate. Kiyosaki often labels a primary residence as a liability, especially if it's got a heavy mortgage, property taxes, maintenance costs, and it doesn't directly generate income, you see. Now, sure, it builds equity over time, maybe, but month to month, it's primarily consuming money from your pocket. The real insight isn't just the definition, though. It's understanding the active mental shift needed to constantly ask, is this thing genuinely putting money in my pocket or taking it out? Regardless of conventional wisdom or how it feels, it pushes you to question the financial purpose behind every big purchase.
That distinction really is a paradigm shift. Wow. Makes you rethink everything you thought you knew about owning stuff. And speaking of rethinking, Kiyosaki makes another pretty provocative claim about our traditional schools. He basically argues that schools just don't teach us how money really works.
And this isn't just like an idle complaint. It's a foundational criticism in the book. The review flags it as a key takeaway. Kiyosaki says, look, traditional education is great at training us to be good employees. Get a job, work hard, get paid a salary. But it largely neglects teaching us how money itself can work for us. The book strongly emphasizes learning about accounting, understanding different investments, recognizing market trends, grasping tax strategies. These are absolutely essential for real wealth creation, he argues. Critical skills often just overlooked in school curriculums geared towards employment. It's a powerful call to action, really, for self-directed financial learning, urging you to fill the gaps formal education might leave.
It is a wake-up call. You take personal responsibility for your financial education.
Yeah.
And that brings us right into what I find is one of Kiyosaki's most provocative statements. Don't work for money, make money work for you.
Yeah.
It's a powerful idea, but for many people listening, maybe stuck in that 9 to 5, how do you even begin to shift that mindset and practically apply it?
That's really the crux of the rich dad philosophy, isn't it? It's about moving beyond that linear model, trading your time directly for a salary, which has a finite limit, obviously. Instead, the focus shifts. It shifts to building or acquiring systems and investments, things that generate income, whether you're actively working or not. We're talking about passive income streams. Could be rental income from real estate, maybe royalties from creative work, profits from a business that has systems, employees allowing it to run somewhat independently, or even dividends from investments. It's about creating income streams that don't depend on your continuous direct involvement, which gives you back your most valuable asset. Time is a gradual process, sure, but the mindset is to always be looking for ways to build these income engines.
Which naturally leads us to an idea that often, it flies in the face of what many of us are taught from a young age, the importance of entrepreneurship and embracing calculated risk. Rather than just seeking job security, many of us are conditioned to prioritize that steady paycheck, right? But this book suggests that can actually limit true financial growth.
Absolutely. Kiyosaki argues that the pursuit of ultimate job security often locks people into what he calls the rat race. Okay, sure, a job provides stability, but it often limits your control over your income and your financial destiny. The book positions calculated risks now, not reckless gambling, but informed strategic risks in business and investing, as the primary pathways to financial independence. It's about developing the courage to step outside the comfort zone of that steady paycheck, learning to spot opportunities, understanding how to leverage resources, solving problems in the marketplace. It cultivates a different kind of security, you see, the ability to create your own income rather than just relying on an employer for it.
And finally, maybe the most empowering lesson of all is this fundamental mindset shift. It applies to more than just money, too. It's about replacing "I can't afford this" with "How can I afford this?" It's subtle, but wow, profoundly impactful in language and, more importantly, in outlook.
Oh, this specific phrase is truly a cornerstone of the rich dad mindset. It really is. I can't afford this. It's a statement of resignation, isn't it? It just closes down your brain, your opportunities. But how can I afford this immediately shifts you into problem-solving mode. It sparks creativity, encourages research, makes you look for solutions, new pathways you might never have even considered. For instance, instead of just thinking, oh, I can't afford that investment property, you start asking, okay, how can I find a partner? How can I get creative with financing? Or what skills could I develop to maybe reduce the costs? What's fascinating here is how this isn't just about money. It's about fostering a proactive, solution-oriented approach to life itself, one that encourages you to overcome perceived limitations and constantly seek opportunities.
Yeah, it's really clear why Rich Dad Poor Dad has resonated with so many people over the years, why it became such a global phenomenon. Our review highlights some key strengths that explain its massive and, frankly, enduring impact.
Indeed. One of its greatest strengths is just its remarkably simple and engaging storytelling. Kiyosaki doesn't bog you down with complex financial jargon, does he? Instead, he uses these personal anecdotes, the compelling narrative of his two dads, to make sometimes sophisticated concepts incredibly accessible. This approach makes complex ideas about money and wealth easy to grasp for pretty much anyone, regardless of their financial background. It's truly a mindset transformation catalyst. It doesn't just inform, it inspires. It inspires readers to rethink their entire relationship with money, their jobs, wealth creation, in a way that very few other books manage. For many, it's that first spark, the thing that ignites a lifelong journey of financial education.
So it's very beginner-friendly then, you'd say.
Oh, absolutely. It serves as an excellent starting point for those new to personal finance, offers a broad foundational perspective rather than getting lost in the weeds of, specific investment products. And its universal appeal, that's another huge strength. The core messages about financial independence, asset building, they transcend specific cultures or professions. They resonate with individuals across the globe who feel trapped in that conventional financial cycle. It taps into a fundamental human desire for freedom and control.
That's a powerful combination of strengths, definitely. But like any really influential work, it's also important to look at where it might fall short, or where its advice might need a deeper dive, beyond its pages. The review doesn't shy away from pointing out potential criticisms.
That's right. And one of the primary weaknesses, the review notes, is its general lack of practical detail. While it's brilliant at shifting your mindset and outlining the why, it's often quite light on the how. It doesn't give you step-by-step guides on, say, how to invest in real estate or start a business or analyze stocks properly. So for someone looking for explicit instructions, they'll definitely need to seek out additional resources. Another common criticism is its repetitive nature. Some lessons, some anecdotes, they get reiterated multiple times throughout the book, which, okay, maybe it's intended for reinforcement, but it can feel a bit tedious for some readers.
And what about the practicality of some of the advice? You mentioned risk-taking. Can it be a bit idealistic sometimes?
It can be, yeah. The review points out that certain advice might at times come across as idealistic, and it might not suit everyone's risk tolerance or personal circumstances. That's key. Kiyosaki's examples often involve significant risk-taking, entrepreneurship, which may not be feasible or even desirable for everyone. What works for a highly motivated entrepreneur, maybe with access to capital, might not be a fit for someone with different responsibilities, a lower risk appetite, or just living in a different economic climate than, 1997 when it was written. The global financial landscape has also evolved considerably, hasn't it? Makes some specific tactics feel a bit dated. It's really crucial for readers to contextualize the advice and adapt it to their own situations.
Okay, so given all these insights, the strengths, the weaknesses, is this book for you? The review gives a pretty clear picture of its ideal audience, which is incredibly helpful for anyone wondering if it's worth their time.
It's highly recommended for anyone who is truly a beginner in personal finance, someone just starting to think beyond their next paycheck, really considering their financial future. It's also fantastic for students, young professionals, people who want to maybe challenge the traditional career path and explore alternatives to the conventional 9 to 5. Or for those who just want to break free from that paycheck to paycheck cycle. And really, anyone curious about entrepreneurship, wealth building, or just the fundamental concept of passive income, they'll likely find it incredibly insightful and motivating. If you're looking for that mindset shift, more than a detailed investment guide, then yes, this book is probably for you.
Ultimately, this deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad makes it pretty clear, doesn't it? It's less of a how-to manual packed with specific financial strategies and much more of a why-to guide. It's a powerful catalyst that aims to fundamentally change how you think about money, your job, and your potential for wealth creation. So what does this all mean for you as you navigate your own financial path?
Well, while the book's primary value really lies in motivating readers, right? Rethinking financial assumptions, inspiring them to learn more about financial independence. Its high rating in the review, an 8 out of 10, that underscores a crucial point. It's a powerful starting gun, definitely, but it's not the finish line. It truly inspires you to seek further understanding, absolutely. But for anyone genuinely seeking advanced strategies or, tactical implementation, in areas like specific investment vehicles, sophisticated tax planning, even understanding behavioral finance and decision making, it necessitates a continuous proactive pursuit of knowledge, far beyond this foundational text. It encourages you to build on that initial mindset shift with practical, in-depth learning, which I suppose raises an important question, doesn't it? What specific areas of financial knowledge will you seek out next to transform this powerful mindset into actionable results?
That's a fantastic question to ponder. We really hope this deep dive has given you a clear understanding of Rich Dad Poor Dad's core ideas, its strengths, its limitations, and maybe even sparked a new way of thinking about your own financial journey. Thank you for joining us on the deep dive. We'll catch you next time.